Hello, welcome to Darkness and Light. This is Daphne Garrido. I am Ophelia Everfall, and this is Dyke Smoked. I'm just kidding. That might create post-traumatic stress for some people around here, and I am sorry about that. But I just wanted to say that I've talked a long time about somebody, and I've just been blasting the internet, and I've been hitting their email because I don't care about their stupid restraining order because it's going to be proven illegal in retrospect, and anything they wield against me going forward is just going to be more fuel for the fire of them trying to exploit a disabled woman for punishment that is actually inflaming their executive dysfunction in many ways, and that they were so negligent in the way that they handled the whole situation that it's so absurd. And there's such a living proof of everything I've written on the internet and all the emails that I sent to them and the way that they ignored me and the old text messages. It's ridiculous. It's like the chain of evidence is unbelievable. I was so sick and they were being so mean and negligent, and then they came after a vulnerable person, a very, very vulnerable adult, in a way that they should have known better, because they are a trained professional working with people like me, that they include, because they obviously don't include trans women in who they protect, or it's just like a, hey, I don't do any, maybe it's just like maybe social workers have a total brain block on like helping people outside of when they get paid, which is the most insane thing I've ever heard. Because you can't be a helper person if you only do it when you get paid. Then you're just a capitalist, dude. Then you're just an employee. If you're not somebody who's living by the ideals of helping people, if you're like, oh no, your personal life, this is my personal life, dude, you can go get in line, dude. Go to the fucking trans ghetto. It's ridiculous. And I'm sorry if people are pissed off about that language, but that's what it feels like to me. And I know that there's resources there that may have helped people, but I cannot abide the horrid reality's reflection that trans women are pipelined to a trans center, that is a place where you're expected to sit in like group and go from the ground up and like earn your way into like connection with the people there. And it's just like there's no need for that in my situation. It's insulting civilizationally for that to happen, when all I need is an appointment with a single psychiatrist, dude. And I need somebody to walk in there with me and be my friend, and I need somebody to grow the fuck up, and stop being a baby, dude. Stop projecting that at somebody who is a broken old tree trunks, who's just got stuck in their crystal cave, dude. They need a hug from Finn, and they need to be set free. And it's like, how could somebody torture a schizophrenic woman with the law knowingly? I don't know. Maybe they just refuse to look at anything I've ever sent. Maybe they look at a bunch of shit every once in a while. Maybe they look sometimes. Maybe they've been looking recently. Maybe I don't know what the fuck's going on at all, because they leave me in complete silence and they make it seem like I am some kind of psychotic obsessive. But guess what, world? I'm proving it as abuse of a schizophrenic woman. And we're gonna learn how to do better for schizophrenic people and not send them into pit spirals that has society blame them for the emotional abuse they've undertaken, which is by law protected against, actually, because it's what you do for disabled people. You extend a helping hand when they're in need. You are by law required to not exploit the law against them to make their disability worse. It's just not something you do. So, but my whole thing, the mystery is solved to me. It's just like, I've known. But now I know how to prove it via direct reflection, which is how a real Sherlock Holmes works. So let me explain this to you. My biggest dysfunction with this whole issue is I was given safe space with a person when I was my first relationship out of a marriage that was about getting my first chance at a kind of like lesbian relationship, and they're super steeped in like lesbian culture, and it was such an affirming thing, and they were such a cutie, and they were so sweet, and they thought I was a sweetie, and then they were just being sweet on me, and it was just like me and their dog and them having the most like love festy friend buds snuggle times, dude, and it was just like best friends, and that's what it felt like. Or maybe they were just using me and gaslighting me, or maybe they got confused at the end. I don't know. They never talked to me once. But the bottom line is, this person's a boy, dude. That's a boy. It's a closeted boy, because they told me straight up, they just hated sapphic tragedy more than anything. They despised it. It was like a true feeling. They expressed a true sentiment that I believed to my core. They were like, I cannot even handle watching sapphic tragedy. I love women so much, and women loving women. I can't let that happen. And I think that they are someone who is affirming to trans women. I don't think I was wrong about that. I don't think they were playing some great ploy and they were just a secret turf. I think they're a really good person when it comes to trans women. So what does the math tell you there? That there's some kind of missing piece, right? Yeah, it's because they don't consider it sapphic tragedy because they know they're not a fucking woman. And so they just destroyed a trans sister to stay in the closet, because they were probably having a nice cozy time in lesbian culture, and just knowing that the reflection of how much we were getting along would reflect a truth about them they didn't want. And so that's what's happening is closeted trans men are taking a large part in the genocide of trans women from culture. Large part. Because they're boys, dude. Because they're boys who hide in lesbian culture. Because they're boys. I'm not saying boys will be boys. I'm saying boys do fucking better. Closeted trans men, do fucking better for your trans sisters before you're out. Don't make me pop all your fucking eggs, dude. Because they're just little bubbles. It's pathetic. Everyone sees through it. Walking around. How affirming does it feel when someone like me sees you and honors you for your like strength and your boundary holding and all this cool stuff? Like, why do people like that love me so much? Because they're men, dude. Because they're men, and they probably love hearing that, but they probably hate it because it's just too challenging, because they're scared of their family and their parents and telling the truth to the world and being brave, and they're hiding as a little girl, and they're just being a little baby girl. And that's what the fuck is going on. Trans men need to grow the fuck up and stand up for their trans sisters. And I'm only talking about the closeted ones, not the closeted passing what do you call it when it's like you're totally blended in, right? I don't know the fucking terminology, but when there's trans men that don't get seen as trans men because they pass so fucking well, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. What's wrong is when trans people who are in the closet but they know it are destroying trans people. Because there's so much cognitive dissonance in the person who is a closeted trans person that is death gripping a place of privilege in culture that needs to be seen to, because they're owning the privilege of womanhood socially. And then they're projecting through action pretensions of someone like me being a colonizer in their lesbian space. And that's because it's a man. It's because it's a man, because men do that to women. And it's not a fair thing to say, but it's a true thing. Because there's lots of men that don't do that. There's lots of really good men.
And closeted trans boys pretending to be little girls are not them. They're pathetic little girls.